History is full of amazing stories and memorable people.
But we don't care about them.
No hits, deep tracks only.
Some of the most influential people in the world have been completely overlooked or just plain forgotten.
We're digging deep into the history books to bring you their stories.
And maybe some laughs along the way.
This is History's B-Side. Today's B-Sider is us.
So, we've been publishing a couple episodes now. We finally got going, and
Whoop, whoop.
first time we're testing out a little bit of audio. Or, not audio.
Video.
Which means we're not going to edit this one very much.
You're going to get a lot of unadulterated comment.
We also have Odie running wild in the room, so
Dog barks.
he might jump on camera, he might jump on the microphone. Definitely going to bark.
Me.
Definitely hear him in the background. But we got some feedback after our first episode that we published from our friend Vince.
Yeah.
Who told us that we'd never really introduced ourselves.
We just assumed everybody knew us.
Yeah.
And now it dawns on us that everybody doesn't.
Well, that, and I mean, who would have thought that anyone other than like Rita and our
Right.
immediate families would actually listen to us?
Right. But with, I think, maybe the optimistic hope that it gains popularity beyond that, we decided that it would be important to introduce ourselves to those listeners that don't know who we are.
Plus, we're both just so charming that
Oh, man.
they have to see the faces behind these beautiful voices.
Of course.
So we decided to take this opportunity to introduce the B-side of History's B-side, which is us.
Oh, man.
We've been telling all these stories about very forgotten people of
Yeah.
history, and who's more forgettable than us?
Oh, man. I don't think I'm forgettable. Am I forgettable?
I've already forgotten about you.
That's something you would say.
Yeah, I know.
Beer break. We both break for beer at the same time.
That's the part we normally cut out of the episodes.
But that you get to see since we're doing video.
So what we decided to do with this episode is just introduce each other.
Yeah.
We normally introduce all these people from history, so I'm going to take a minute to introduce Matt. Matt's going to take a minute to introduce me. We normally research our topics heavily, but we know each other so well that we did no preparation for this episode.
We also thought it would be kind of an interesting rendition of our popular quiz at the end of our episodes where we kind of see what we know
And we
about
do
each
so
other.
well on those questions that we're bound to get all of these right.
I'm fact-checking the crap out of this.
But we also kind of want to give some background on our podcast itself and why we decided to do this and how it's going so far, I guess. So, I mean, Matt and I have been friends for long enough.
3 months, 4 months.
Yeah, something like that. And I don't know, we've kind of talked about doing a podcast for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, it's always been one of those, like, I don't know, popular millennial, I always wish I should have's, you know,
Yeah.
like starting a blog or whatever. Like, it just seemed like it would be fun to start, even if you did nothing but, I don't know, keep it in your computer for forever.
I don't think it's anything so much that I feel that people need or want to hear me, but it was more
Yeah.
just, it'd be fun to try to do something and
For sure.
put some effort into researching and then presenting, and it just, you know, life skills, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it honestly, even now that we're, I don't know, a couple episodes into publishing and 11 or so episodes into editing, I do kind of feel, I mean, like a sense of, I don't know, accomplishment, pride, whatever you want to say. Like, you know, we have a podcast. Like, this is one of those things that I always wanted to do, but it seemed like there were so many complicated steps to start. But now that we've taken all the little tiny complicated steps, it's just kind of here.
Yeah, I mean, not to say that we're anything that impressive, like
We're impressive.
hundreds of thousands of downloads and huge audience and stuff, but I mean,
one
it's been a
subscriber
good
at a time,
experience
right?
so far, and it's at least learning the new skills and
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, and the other thing that for me especially, I can't speak to you, but in terms of our topic selection, I always felt like I wanted to know more about history. I was never super thorough in terms of understanding the details of historical events beyond, you know, the bare minimum we had to learn for courses in high school and college. So one of my goals was to spend more time on my own, just getting a solid grasp on historical subjects. And this seemed like a really good way to almost like randomize and force that.
Yeah. And for me, it's just I've said on the podcast how we always went to do these history things on our vacations and stuff. It's just been kind of ingrained in me, but I've always had an interest in history, but going to museums and stuff, you kind of glance at what you read real quick and then maybe
Yeah.
it sticks with you, maybe it doesn't. But for this, it was just kind of being able to pick a topic and really dive into it and basically try to become an expert on it within a couple days before
Yeah.
we present it.
What I think that's a little bit of the allure or service, I guess, we provide is that we're not historians, we're not experts. We make that very clear in
We
in some
dumb it down
episodes.
for people who don't want to do the research themselves.
Yeah. So I think there's definitely a niche that we fill there where it's not super dense because we can't get super dense.
Yeah. And just in the first few episodes that we've published, I think the question I've gotten the most is, where do you get your topics? And it's just kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's a lot of, I had an interest in a topic, so I read about it more until I found someone who fit that category. Like obviously I'm a huge baseball fan.
Yeah.
So I knew from the start I was going to pick someone. I was thinking from the Negro Leagues. And as I dove into that more, like you think about Jackie Robinson, and you think about the Negro Leagues, and I started reading about the women that play the Negro Leagues. And then the further I got into it, I came upon Fleet Walker,
Yeah.
who was the first African American to play Major League Baseball way before the Negro Leagues were even a thing.
Right.
So it was just kind of, as you get into these topics and read about them, these people naturally appear that you're like, oh, there's got to be more to them that I need to research and find out about.
Right. Well, and the nice thing, I guess, about being the B-side is that we're not going surface level necessarily on our attack either. Like, in order to place and explain the actions of kind of a background character, if you will, you kind of do have to have a fairly thorough knowledge. So that's kind of forced us to
Educate ourselves.
yeah, to develop like the one I'm thinking of in particular is an unpublished episode at the moment. That's Frank Will's, actions during the Watergate scandal, and I knew nothing about the Watergate scandal, an embarrassingly little amount about one of the most major political scandals, and just sheerly to understand his role and its impact, I kind of had to read everything about Watergate.
And I kind of think maybe this is obvious as a listener, but maybe it's not, I don't know. But when you're presenting a topic and I'm just listening to it, I generally have very little knowledge about the topic going into it,
Yeah.
and vice versa. So
Right.
I'm learning through you. I mean, you send me some notes that I kind of glance over and stuff, and I try to read a little bit to pick the trivia questions at the end of our show.
Mm-hmm.
But I really don't know much about the topic until we get into it. So
Yeah.
a lot of like the back and forth that you hear on the episodes, well, do you think this, or how did this really affect whatever? That's genuine.
Yeah.
Like that's me hearing the story for the first time and wanting to know
Right.
what you came across as you read more about this.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's a good dynamic. It's been fun so far. I feel like, regardless of how far this goes, I feel like it's been a success in my book as far as making us
Yeah, and
learn and grow.
sincerely, if you're listening to this and you actually really enjoy the show, sorry, Odie's digging behind me. If you are listening and you do enjoy the show, we really appreciate hearing feedback because it lets us know what we need to work on and
Yeah.
just reminds us that people are actually listening to this. And please feel free to share it with your friends, family, coworkers, people that you know that hopefully they might enjoy it as well. So we definitely appreciate that.
Yeah. It means a ton that people want to listen to us talk about history for 45 minutes to an hour and a half.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny, some of the feedback that has been forwarded to me from family and friends that have shared it, and it's just
Yeah.
like, it, good or bad, like you're welcome to criticize us because we do get things wrong, but it's
Plenty.
reassuring to know that people are actually listening and paying attention to have feedback for us too.
Yeah.
So we've probably babbled enough. Should we actually introduce ourselves for
Yeah.
like the first time on our podcast?
Yeah, let's do it.
So you want to go first, or do you want me to?
I don't know. I can. Sure. I'll dive in.
All right.
So Phil here, as I mentioned, we've been friends for 3 or 4 months, or since high school.
Which is like 3 or 4 months ago.
Oh God, it does feel like that. It really does. But we met in high school. Trombone.
Just blurt it out.
Phil was a trombone virtuoso in the Bourbon High School marching bands, and that's probably the first time we met. Was through the band. But we went to the same local school, Youngstown State University, and ended up hanging out more and more. And our whole friend group kind of coagulated around us hanging out at coffee shops and then bars when we were
What a
21.
gross way to describe
Coagulate.
a friend group.
Our friends are like blood cells. But we kind of, grew closer and closer. Honestly, though, we couldn't be more... I don't know, we could be more different, but there's a lot of things we
Pretty
disagree
similar.
on.
That's other feedback I've gotten a lot. Is we said we disagree a lot, and we haven't been disagreeable enough.
I think we both tried to be
I think we try to
agreeable.
keep it civil on the podcast.
But I mean, one of the things that we both kind of connect on in a way that makes our friendship interesting is that we both enjoy arguing just for the fun of it and not necessarily, I don't want to say not necessarily to win because we both care about winning the argument, but we're both good enough at being the devil's advocate just for the sake of debate that has led to a lot of really good conversations about many things.
And kudos to Matt because he's never won an argument in all the times that we've been friends.
That's absolutely not true. I just haven't admitted that I think I won. Anyway, back to Phil. This is supposed to be about Phil. As far as I know, you were born in Youngstown. I don't know if I'm right on that fact. You can correct me.
He's not right.
Oh, no. Where were you born?
I was born in Cleveland.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to take that away from you. I'm going to give you a chance to mess up, too. I was about to
Yeah. I'll
introduce
let you
myself,
finish, and then I'll correct the rest of it at the end.
Did you live in Youngstown? Like, shortly thereafter?
I moved to Youngstown when I was 2.5.
Okay. So, spent most of his life in
My
Youngstown.
parents met in Youngstown, moved up to Cleveland when my dad went to law school, and
Gotcha.
all of us were born up there and then moved back. But
Okay.
yeah.
So, as most people do, he's got a mom and a dad. 2 sisters, both older. I don't know by how much, but his oldest sister is several years because she wasn't in high school with us. I don't know if this is awkward or whatever. I'm just trying to give you biological information about Phil. He played baseball. That's pretty much all I know about his younger years since we didn't meet until high school. He's a baseball fanatic, played in, I suppose, Little League, middle school. Not in middle school. I know nothing. Just in high school.
I didn't say anything. I'm just shrugging and listening
okay.
along.
You look like you were nodding no.
I mean, I played t-ball when I was 5.
Okay, that'll do. Let's get to the later biographical stuff that I can hammer home a little bit more thoroughly.
My blood type is. I'm
I
just
don't know.
kidding.
I
I don't know it either.
don't know if you started in high school, but certainly in college, you worked at Panera, which is where you ended up. Panera Bread, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Midwest-ish brand.
For that one Malaysian listener we have, shout out.
But yeah, he met his future-to-be wife, Rita, as a coworker there, and she ended up becoming a pretty important part of our little group of friends as well. He studied marketing in college at the Williamson School of Business and somehow graduated in less time than he should have, and I graduated with an extra year. So I basically just adopted his year for him. I'm getting timelines a little screwed up, but
That's okay. You're also dabbling in some of your background too, so it saves me some work later on.
That's true. I shouldn't be giving you any more ammunition than necessary. Yeah, and then after graduation, he ended up working for a local restaurant chain as their marketing manager. I actually got a chance to work closely with him as a musician myself after graduation and played some gigs for events there. And I'd say maybe a year, almost exactly a year after I got a job out west and moved to Portland, he got married to Rita. And so I got to return to celebrate their marriage. And I guess we're up to date. He has a dog.
I have a dog.
He has a dog that I think you might have seen or at least
I don't know if
heard.
he's made it in the background or not, but he's been annoying.
Did you adopt him a year ago? Or was it
Almost
further
2
back?
years. We got him a month after our wedding.
So you had him for about a year before I got Barley.
Yeah.
I don't know why I had it in my head. Everybody got their dogs at the same time.
No, they're about the same age, but
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, he owns a house. We're recording in it.
Yep.
He takes good care
Beautiful room if you're watching the video, if we got the video to work on this. With
Yeah.
lovely artwork in the background from a sip and paint.
of it. Sip and paint.
We're good? We're up to date?
I think so.
That's
I mean,
pretty
add anything
accurate.
in it.
No, I mean, I
left
think you
out
got
or-
things right for the most part, and if you didn't, it made me sound more interesting, and we'll keep it there.
What
As
about me?
as with the way that we introduce our people, I feel like you jumped right into the meat of it, whereas I'm going to start with the date of birth and place of birth.
Date?
Well-
You know the date? I'm gonna feel bad.
Well,
December
you did get
16th
my
is the.
you did get my place of birth, I guess. Not accurate originally, but so Matthew Melito was born on October 21st, 1992 in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Aren't you from like Eastern
Youngstown.
PA? I thought you didn't.
My mom's from Eastern PA
Did you live out there though?
for 1 year. My first grade year.
Matthew Melito was born on October 21st,
I'm so glad you got that
1992 in Youngstown, Ohio. Spent 1 year living somewhere in Eastern PA. Was it Philadelphia?
It was like a very rural suburb outside of Philadelphia.
All
It's
right,
called
close enough.
West Grove
Close enough.
for all our West Grove
Then
listeners.
I was born in Parma, not Cleveland.
Okay.
At some point, moved back to the Youngstown area. I feel like you lived somewhere else too, but I might be wrong. Okay. No,
I mean, my
nope.
family didn't.
I know very little about Matt's childhood. I know he played 1 year of Little League where he aspired to be a Major League Baseball player. Beyond that point, did not work out.
I didn't hit one ball the whole season.
At
I struck out every time. I'm not even kidding about that.
in high school, Matt was a lovely saxophonist and also a member of the swim team. He was the senior soloist for the Boardman High School Wind
I
Ensemble.
feel like we could be like high school cartoon characters.
Pretty much. He also won Boardman High School Class of 2011's
Oh, God.
Best Dressed,
Yes, I did.
a title which he has not upheld if you were watching on the video because he's just wearing a t-shirt and a flannel.
This is what Oregon did to me.
I haven't gotten to that part of your story yet.
Nobody wears dress shirts there. I swear to God, it's like the only people I met who wore dress shirts out there were like serious businessmen and lawyers. That was it.
Are there serious businessmen
I mean,
and lawyers?
yeah, it's an economic center, but
All right.
you were weird if you had your shirt tucked in.
Upon graduation, Matt was undecided for college. Not undecided about going to college, but where he was going to college and to study what, which means he ended up at Youngstown State University, like the average Youngstown State University attendee from our,
Yeah.
generation, I guess. Although I actually chose YSU. I liked
Good
YSU.
for you.
They have a very good business school.
I was happy with the decision.
Yeah,
it's
it's a great
looking
school.
back on what college meant to me and how it helped or didn't help and like the costs and everything and what I got out of it. I'm happy I decided to go to YSU.
I think it's just kind of like a joke that you say you end up at YSU, but it's actually like a really, really good school.
Yeah.
And I think we both had good experiences there. So little ad for YSU.
Yeah, go Penguins.
Wearing my hoodie right now. So Matt went to YSU originally on a music degree, or you wanted to go to other schools on a music degree and didn't pursue that when you went to YSU?
Yeah, so I was accepted into other schools to go for jazz studies, and at the last second just didn't. I mean, we were talking about like 40 grand a year schools, and I wasn't decided enough to want to spend that kind of money. Especially when most of the schools I chose were very specialty schools. It wasn't like I could bail out of music and go study psych or business or whatever. They were like an art school. So I did transfer to YSU as a music major, but I switched before
You'll
orientation.
understand my confusion because in YSU, Matt opted to major in psychology, English, education, general studies.
I never understand.
That was just a brief consideration until you decided.
I mean,
out
yeah,
your
that was
major.
a consideration on how to get out. Like, I was like, if I just do this, can I get a degree?
What else did I miss?
Philosophy.
Oh yeah, definitely philosophy. I think eventually Matt graduated with a psychology degree simply for the reason of he was closest to graduating with a psychology degree and did the
It was a
typical YSU
mistake.
5.
I went to my advisor in the human rights college, and at the time I was an English major, I think, and she literally wrote out my form as to graduate as a psych major because she just assumed because I had so many psych credits that's what I was graduating in. And honestly, I was like, well, is that is that the least amount of classes I have to take to get a degree? And she's like, honestly, yeah. So I just switched to psych for that reason only, because I was like a year from graduation at that point.
In addition to being very undecided on his college degrees, Matt also had various employment opportunities with what swim club? Some swim club? Weren't you a lifeguard?
No, I was the maintenance guy
Oh,
at
he
Applewood.
worked at an Applewood swim club.
That's
Worked
terrible.
at Panera, not the same time or same one as me. Worked at a movie theater. Worked
I'm a jack of
a
many
couple other
trades.
places. Spent a illustrious career as a manager at a coffee shop on YSU's campus. Did a little work for a print shop. Did some work for some specialty coffee roasting business. What else did we do? We poured some wine at some
I feel like I did
winery.
more than just pour wine.
Well, you worked at some winery
Penner-Ash.
around here. No, not that one. We're not there yet.
Oh.
Worked at a winery doing
Diletto.
murder mystery dinners, and worked at a couple other bars, including brief 1 week stints as a waiter, bartender in various places, before Matt decided to pursue a career in the wine industry.
Oh my God. Maybe I am ridiculous. You make me sound ridiculous. I didn't change jobs every week. This is over a 10-year period.
Matt continued his education by studying deeply into wine and becoming what's the first level of sommelier? You took your test and it was
It's just called level 1. Well, it's
a level 1 introductory sommelier.
sommelier.
At this point, Matt uprooted his life and moved out to Portland, Oregon. Somehow, conveniently, the same weekend that I bought my house, which helped him from helping me move all my crap.
That's the only reason
we
I
also
moved.
forgot to mention that we lived together for a year.
Oh, yeah. How did we do that? Yeah, we lived together for a year in
Yeah.
college. Yeah, my
No,
last
it
year
was-
of college.
Well, okay,
My last year,
yeah.
you're already working.
Yeah, so we spent a year living together. That was interesting. I didn't have any complaints. You were a good roommate.
Yeah, you're all right.
Didn't see it too much, so whatever.
Yeah, we were opposite schedules, sort of. But
Yeah.
we had a good time.
Yeah. Anyway,
Lots
3
of
years
beer
later,
pong.
Matt moved out to Portland. He was in Portland for 2.5 years, something like that.
Yeah, 2018 to COVID.
In Portland, Matt lived in 4 different places and had 4 different jobs. Not really. I think it's 3 and 3, but the joke still stands.
Just 2 jobs. I lived in 3 different places.
Well, you were at Penner-Ash, then took a job somewhere else, but immediately went back to Penner-Ash, and then you went back to...
Oh, yeah, I never actually worked that job. That actually worked out really nicely for me because I quit and then they counter-offered. So it basically just got me a better deal.
Then he spent the rest of his time working at some fancy bougie wine bar and got his certified sommelier test before he decided to retire from the wine industry. If you guys think that Matt is indecisive when it comes to I don't know, college majors and career choices and where he lives and stuff, he's single, ladies.
Oh, my God.
We haven't even talked about his love life, but we're gonna let
We're
that
not
one
going
go.
to.
We're gonna let that one go.
I'm indecisive because I have a passion for
He's
life.
a very passionate man.
I also decided to go to law school. That's why the main
Amid-
reason I retired from the wine.
Amid the pandemic and civil unrest of the year 2020, Matt became inspired to pursue a career in law to help achieve social justice in whatever way he can that is more productive to society than pouring wine. And I think that is very admirable. Matt is a great guy. He moved back home because he didn't have a job because of the pandemic, but he's going to move out to Colorado to pursue his law education and one day change the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Molina.
Yours had way more fanfare than mine did. I feel bad. I was like, this is Phil. He's all right. Here's some things about him. That was very thorough. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
You definitely won
I
that.
studied up on you.
Did you?
No,
I feel like you had an outline at least.
in my head.
I didn't even go in chronological order. I started with how we met and then went back.
There's nothing on my
It's fine.
computer right now. It's just
That's true. I'm looking
Yeah.
at it.
just
yeah,
in my head.
I mean, that's us.
Neither of us have a history degree. Neither of us have any
don't.
background in history. We just kind of,
I failed AP Gov. I did. Sorry, Mr. Race.
I don't know. We just like a good story. And we are I think it might be posted somewhere. Maybe I deleted it in my writings for our different web presences, but just that we took an interest in these important, forgotten people, even though we are unimportant, forgettable people. So it doesn't really matter who we are. That's, I guess, why we never really introduced ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, it never even occurred to us, I guess. But now you know the people behind the voices.
If you even want to listen to this episode, people are like, today's B-siders are us. No. Turn it off.
But as always, I was going to say thank you for listening.
Well, we're not done yet because we have a fun kind of
Yeah.
announcement thing. So we're going to take a real quick break for an obligatory message from Anchor, our always sponsor. And then we'll get back in with a fun, sort of exciting announcement for ways that you can participate and be more involved in the History's B-Side podcast.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
We just want to take a minute and thank you for listening to History's B-Side. You know, it takes a lot of time to research and put these episodes together, so we wanted to let you know how you can support the show going forward.
Go ahead and subscribe at anchor.fm/History's B-Side or wherever you're listening from. If you'd like, leave us a review and tell us what you think of our show.
If you're interested in advertising with the show and hearing your message in a spot like this, send us an email to historiesbside@gmail.com.
We're looking forward to hearing from you, and thanks for listening. All right, welcome back. So now that you know a little bit about us, have an idea who we are, we wanted to talk about a new, development, a new project we've got that we're pretty excited about and stoked to tell you guys about. I'll let Phil introduce it, and we'll...
Well, I think first of all, the biggest thing that you can do to support the show really is just, number one, listen, subscribe, rate, all the things that people say at the end of every podcast that you listen to, because it's beneficial and it helps us. But also follow us along on social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, a YouTube channel, all at History's B-Side. So that's great. But one new thing that we're going to start trying out here, and I think it's kind of fun, exciting. We've been putting it together for kind of a while, but we just kind of kept it in the background until now. We are launching a page on Buy Me a Coffee, which is, the website is buymeacoffee.com/History's B-Side, all one word, buymeacoffee.com/History's B-Side. And it's really just a way for listeners, friends, family to get involved and be a part of the show.
Yeah, I mean, if you're excited about our show and excited about being involved or supporting us at all, I mean, we don't, at this point, we're doing this for free. And I'm not to sound greedy, but
no, it's for fun.
Yeah.
We didn't really go into this trying to make a ton of money doing it. But, you know,
if you want to, I mean, I think the whole idea behind Buy Me a Coffee is that idea exactly. Like, it's meant so that you can donate a set amount, but you can also, support shows in other ways. I mean, we've set up, in addition to just the donate, is there a set amount on the donation?
Not really. You can do whatever you want. It's essentially a virtual tip jar.
Okay.
It's a way of showing us that you appreciate the show and you want it to continue, because, we like doing this, but it's a lot of work and a lot of research. So it's nice to get that listener support and that feedback. But there's more to it than just that. There's ways that you can really be a part of the show and even get your footprint on it as well.
Yeah. So we've actually set it up so that you can join as a podcast member for either $10 a month or $100 a year. And this gets you a couple perks. The first and I think most entertaining is our monthly bonus episodes, which we're going to title History's B-Side Battles, just where we basically take our B-siders for the month, scramble them up, and then basically debate about which ones would win in a duel with...
It's kind of a way to revisit the people that you've already heard about, but in a new, fun, more laid-back way.
More casual.
Basically, we take the 4 or 5 episodes that you heard last month. So, and actually the first month that we're doing it will be a bonus because it'll be a combination of the February and the March episodes. And we take all those characters and we randomize them, and then we pit 2 of them against each other and give them random attributes from our favorite card game, Super Fight. And then we just argue about them. We talk about who we think would win.
Like we said, one of
fight.
our favorite pastimes is debating and arguing with one another, so we figured, what the heck.
But those episodes will be a lot more casual. They'll be more like this, where it's not so edited, so straight to the point, making sure we're factual. It's just kind of fun to chat, and you'll probably hear our dogs in the background. And
we made a point to have our dogs in the background. But in addition to the monthly bonus episode, you're also going to get access to our future episode queue. We plan things a couple weeks in advance.
Yeah, I think we're on pace right now that we're almost 8 episodes ahead of what's you're actually hearing. We might not always stick to that pace, but we'd like to. But it gives you a chance to really know what's coming up. If there's a topic that you're really interested in that you want to hear more about, you can ask us about it, and you can check that out and see when it's actually getting published.
Yeah. You can also have your name shouted out on a future episode, just so we can show you a little bit of support. We're stoked that people are listening and enjoying what we have to say, and we'd love to show our members and supporters a little bit of love on the air.
And everyone who joins as a member will send you a little gift. It'll be a handwritten postcard from us just saying thank you for supporting the show. And we'll give you one of our sticker sets that we're just coming out with. It's these 3 stickers that we made that kind of represent the show and a little fun. You can keep them, pass them out, give them, wear them, whatever you want to do with them. But a little fun gift that we can give out for you.
MacBook cover. My handwriting is trash. Are you writing the thank you notes? Or...
Yeah, you just gotta sign them.
Great. Okay. People could probably read them. It just looks like a 6th grader.
I'll sign them for you.
Thanks, Mom.
And we'll have more perks and stuff coming out for members that want to join us on the Buy Me a Coffee website. We got some kinks that we got to work out, of course, but we're hoping to do more video content things, especially for the bonus episodes. But we're looking at ways that we can have you guys actually join us live during an episode while we record it. Like I said,
awesome.
We record them almost 2 months in advance, so you would be the first ones to hear about these shows before they come out, and you would really get inside access and exclusive sneak peeks of what we got coming up. And you get to see us kind of joke around and mess up a lot as we're recording. Because
even though a ludicrous amount of mistakes that we have to edit out.
Even though our episodes are about an hour long, it takes a little bit longer for us to record them because we do stumble along the way.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half, 2 hour event sometimes.
And we'd even stick around if you guys have questions about that topic or other topics that we've done. We'd be happy to chat with you before or after the recording as well. So that's stuff down the line. But obviously, if you join as a member on the Buy Me a Coffee website right now, we have some perks outlined on there that you would get instantly. And then we have ideas for some more stuff we're going to put in along the way.
Yeah. And then the final way I almost said History's B-side, but the final way Buy Me a Coffee allows people to interact with us and support us is through what's essentially an online shop. We've got available extras, one of which is to choose topics for a future show. If there's a topic that you're really excited about or interested in learning more about or just hearing us babble about for an hour, you can, suggest it for us and pretty much get an automatic in.
And you'll get a special shout out on that episode as well. If you're the one who gives us the idea, we're happy to mention you by name and say this episode came from so-and-so, and who knows, maybe we'll find ways to actually get some audio and work in the potential sponsors of the shows as well.
Yeah. And then that also allows us to kind of individually sell some of the perks that would come with a full membership, such as the custom postcards or sticker sets that we'll have out, or any future merch. We don't have like t-shirts or hats or anything at this point, but we're hoping that sometime down the road we'll have a little bit more gear for us to wear and people to.
Like we said, this show is a learning work in progress, so we're happy to have you be a part of it. We're happy that you're listening, and we want to get you involved as much as we can. And I don't know,
make this as fun as it can be.
It's a friends and family affair, so let's get everyone involved and have some fun.
Yeah. Anything else about?
No.
Buy Me a Coffee?
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
I guess we should repeat it again. The website is buymeacoffee.com/historiesbside, all one word, no apostrophe in that. I think if you just go to the website, you can just search History's B-Side and it will come up. We may do some other perks too. We might find some ways to give away free memberships and things like that. So if you want, follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all at History's B-Side, and we'll communicate with you there, try to find some ways to get you involved and maybe win a free membership or some other prizes as well.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I think that was a solid introduction. Thank you guys for listening to us give a little bit of information about ourselves. I hope you have a better idea of where we're coming from with the podcast, and
probably more than they wanted to know about us.
Yeah, way more than they probably wanted to know, but find our bad jokes funnier than they were before.
Yeah. And hey, Odie was actually pretty good during this.
Yeah, he was. That was a awesome development.
My dog is crazy.
I was expecting a lot more than that.
Seen more or met him, but I'm sure you'll see more of him as we go.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening. And like I said, this is a special episode, so it's not coming out on a Monday, but we'll be back on the Monday following whenever this publishes with another one of our regular episodes. And thank you for listening. Please continue. Please share the show. And thanks for being a part of History's B-Side.
History's B-Side is an independent, listener-supported podcast.
Leave us a review or subscribe to the show on your favorite podcasting service. And follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at History's B-Side.
Send us your feedback or inquire about sponsorship and advertising opportunities by emailing us at historiesbside@gmail.com.
You can donate to the show at buymeacoffee.com/historiesbside. While you're there, check out our membership perks, merchandise, and more.
This episode was researched and produced by your hosts, Matt Melito
and Phil Hall. Thanks for listening to History's B-Side.